Thank you for hopping on. We're going to go again starting here. So if you're here for the Fowler School of Engineering virtual session where we're going to talk about some of our careers, internships, and research. And then we have a handful of our really exceptional, great, amazing students here to share some of their experiences as well and help answer any questions from the student perspective. The presentation will be really, not too long actually, and then we'll have time for questions as well. So a quick overview, I'll go ahead and talk about our Fowler School of Engineering, some of the career internships and research opportunities, and some statistics and data that we have. We'll go over our student experiences so that they can share, and then we'll have some Q&A. So real quickly, my name is Sam. You can call me Sam. I am the manager of career services. I'm going to go ahead and let my partner here introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I am Adina Hamlin. I'm the manager for student success. I've been at Chapman for 10 years, and I actually was in this building, Swenson Hall, with a hard hat when it first opened. So I have a little bit of background knowledge if you have any questions. I'm happy you guys are here, and we're excited to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Adina. Yeah, so if you have any questions regarding, your process to, come to Chapman or anything around that, Adina is a really great resource for that. If you have any questions about career-related items, I'm more than happy to help you however I can in that area as well. So real briefly about us, if you haven't already done your homework, we have 5 majors and 6 minors. We have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering, Computer Science, Data Science, Electrical Engineering, Software Engineering. And some of our minors are Analytics, Computer Engineering, Computer Science, Electrical Engineering, Game Dev, which is a really popular one, and Information Security and Policy, which is also very popular. One addition that I would love to mention is our Master's in Electrical Engineering and Computer Science program. Also, we call that EECS. And the really great thing about our master's program is it's a 4+1 program, and there's also a traditional route attached to it. Some of our students are participating in that already, but the 4+1 basically means in your senior year of undergraduate, you can get basically a year's worth of your master's classes done at the same time. So you can save money, right? And then graduate with your master's much quicker. So that's a very popular option as well. But more related to careers, our Career Services Center is located in our Tech Center, Swenson Hall, in N110, right next to the immediate exits facing the street. If you ever need to find us, you can't miss it. It's a giant glass wall. I'm typically in there and you'll see me. And some of the services that we offer are, pretty much in line with what you might find at every other university. So hopefully all the other universities that you're exploring also offer these things, but resume, cover letters, job searching, interviewing, negotiating, and just general career guidance. Also have conversations about graduate school and the options that you might want to pursue. Specifically to our events, we also host things like general workshops. We have a workshop series going over the basics and fundamentals of career exploration and professional development. We have site visits, which is really great. We have large networking events that happen several times throughout the semester. And then we also have something specific to our school called Industry Insights, where we invite somebody who's an industry professional to talk about what they believe are the most necessary skills that students might need to learn. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had an industry insight session with a cybersecurity professional, and then they hosted a workshop about AI and cybersecurity's role and what to expect. And then in the evening, they hosted an actual technical workshop to build professional skills around that. When it comes to site visits, those are things that we are doing all the time now. Here's a recent photo of our students who attended a local company here in Irvine, California called Massimo. They're a health technology company. And so this is just a photo of some of our students who are able to go ahead and observe some of the labs and the spaces and the things that they're working on and meet with the recruiters for internships and career opportunities. This is another photo that we can share with you, some second order effects. They work a lot with government, building things like rockets and sending things into space, things around that nature as well. As far as industry partnerships go, these are just some of the names that we'll list here. You might be aware of them already. So Panasonic Avionics is a really great partner with us. They're a great industry partner. For example, they come every semester. They host workshops for our students. They also do mock interviews for our students. So that's been really great. We also have partnerships with Boeing, NVIDIA, Massimo, who I mentioned earlier, Johnson & Johnson, which our students are actually taking a trip to next week, I believe. We have Chalk, the Children's Hospital, Ingram Micro Mobility Wear. They're a game company. They were the first iTunes Store mobile game app company to launch. Uh, I just learned that when I was talking to them. And then there's Disney, of course, right around the corner for us, Anaheim Angels, AAA, and other companies as well. On the research side, there's tons of research being done through our faculty and our students as well, through cybersecurity, health technology, AI, machine learning, optical computing, and more. And all of those things can be found on our website as well, under our faculty profiles and the research that they're doing. Okay. So some data and information about our career internships and research. I think these are the things that most of our students, and I know especially our parents, are interested in, right? So we talk about experiential learning, and the way that we define experiential learning is learning through hands-on experience, whether it be internships, project building, learning a technical skill, work shadowing, et cetera, any of those types of things. 82% of our students who've graduated have taken these in an internship format. 17% have done research, right? And then the other remaining have done study abroad, work part-time in a relevant field or industry, or maybe they take on campus jobs, such as being a research assistant. Maybe they work in the lab space, right, in our maker space, and work on our materials. Some data for you who are interested. The average salary for our graduating students hovers around 79,000 per year. And this is all inclusive of students who go on to do research, some students who want to go to grad school, and then a blend of our complete just traditional full-time work route students. So that's pretty good considering that maybe if you go to grad school, you might not be working full-time. And so taking that salary into consideration, the national or the average for California for undergraduate engineering degrees and first job salaries hovers around 81,000. So I would probably say we're right around that. Here's a list of some of the companies and partnerships and most recently where our students have been going. So you might recognize some of these names here. Very popular companies, as you can tell, but also smaller companies, right? And if you're part of any of these organizations and you're here today, please feel free to let us know. We can connect. But yeah, these are just some examples of where our students are going after their time here or during their time here as well. So I do want to take some time for our students to talk about themselves, because ultimately I think it's really important to understand how our students experience their education and how they apply that towards their career and professional development. So I'm going to have our students introduce themselves by sharing their names, their major and minor if they have a minor, if they've done if they landed a full-time job or an internship or have done research or even both, and really briefly like what that is. Okay, so I'm gonna start from whoever I see on my screen here. So Dylan, you're up first. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dylan Inafuku. Last spring, I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science with a minor in data analytics. And currently, I'm pursuing a master's in the 4+1 program Samuel mentioned, which is a master's in electrical engineering and computer science. Uh, in my career, I have participated in research, which here at Chapman, we call it the SURF program. Basically, that stands for the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. For in terms of internship experience, last summer I got an internship at a company called iHerb. It is an e-commerce company where I was a software engineer intern. And basically, with that internship, I did mostly back-end work.
Right, thank you. Next up, we have Quillen.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Quillen. I am a current senior majoring in computer science with a minor in game development. Like Dylan, I'm also in the EECS program. It's pretty nice because it's integrated into your senior year. So you have to do one less year of your master's program compared to other schools. In terms of research, I am currently working in a research lab for VR gait training, which is anything related to people's walking motions. We basically help people who have trouble walking or need walk rehabilitation through VR by creating a simulation that's run on a treadmill. Other than that, I am, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Next we have Hemi.
Hi, I'm Hemi. I'm a computer science major and a game development minor. So currently I work as a student tutor in the Chapman TLC for math and computer science courses, but I also landed a internship for summer 2025 at Rockwell Automation as a full stack developer. I'm also planning on working on some of their cloud engineering stuff there, so that'll be nice. And for that internship, I'm predicted to work on some of the newer software that they're making to help their engineers work with the tools better.
Thank you. Next we have Ellie.
Hi, my name is Ellie Nguyen. I'm a senior computer science major with a math minor, and ever since my sophomore year, I've been working under Dr. Sibrian, and she's a professor at Chapman who specializes in accessibility and social and educative technology. So my research work focuses on the development and the evaluation of a device that helps to make musical interaction more easy and accessible, especially for people with disabilities or motor impairments or cognitive disabilities that would typically prohibit them from playing traditional musical instruments. And so by working on this project, I gained a lot of technical skills related to my field, like creating a project plan, building circuitry, using sensors and coding. And in addition to that, I've also gained experience that allowed me to hone my soft skills. Like these included presenting at symposiums and at conferences, and just creating content like posters and presentations and papers that with the goal of communicating my work to an audience. And as well, just like Dylan, I was also involved in the SURF program, the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. And it was through that program that I got super involved in my research, and I learned a better idea of what it's like to be a full-time researcher.
All right, thank you. And last but not least, Hallie.
Hey everybody, my name is Hallie. I'm a third year software engineering major and game development minor. On campus right now, I am the TA for the data structures and algorithms course for all three sections, where I basically grade all the mastery projects that the students submit to make sure that they run correctly and that they're following the correct standards. And just like Hemi, I also just received an internship for summer 2025 at a financial software company called Workiva, and that will also be a full stack development. Cool.
Awesome. So we have a wide varying experiences here with our students. One thing I do want to say is like I don't want to sell them short. So a lot of the research component, students might not think about research too much, but you'd be surprised at how valuable research will play into your role of looking for even full-time careers. And getting publications and being able to go to symposiums and present is actually a pretty big deal. So it's really great to hear about. So I have some softball questions for our students here to chime in and answer, but let's get the ball rolling here. How did you get introduced or started in your career internship or research? So how did you even get involved into what you're doing? And then I'll let whoever wants to go first, feel free to unmute yourselves and chime in from our students.
So I can go first. How I got introduced with research. So initially, I wasn't aware of the surf program here at Chapman, but then one of my friends mentioned to me that there was a program called Surf here, and that's kind of how I got interested in doing research and thinking about, oh, what is research? What could I do in research? And I wasn't very sure, so then I looked at the Chapman website and looked at a list of professors for all of their qualifications, but also areas of interest in terms of research. And I found one professor, her name is Dr. Wen, and she had a project where essentially in that project, we would create a model to detect Alzheimer's disease using MRIs. And that really intrigued me. So that's kind of how I got started in terms of research. But in terms of the internship process, that was basically through fixing my resume. I remember one time I went to Samuel Lee to get some tips on my resume, and I remember my resume just being terrible. And this helped me really fix different parts of my resume, which eventually helped recruiters get to see my resume and give me the chance to have these interviews.
Yeah, I can go next. Kind of the same like Dylan. I had a friend named Matt, and who was taking a computer graphics class under my current manager, Dr. Chi. And he told me about the VR position, and he knew I was interested in kind of game development related things because VR is within that industry. And so I was like, hey, I would love to join the VR research study. And it's honestly that easy. You just can ask around for friends, ask professors. Most of the time, professors are willing to give you an opportunity to work under them. You just have to find the right path to get there. But that's how I got mine.
I'll go next. So the path that I got into research is it's pretty unique. It was through a program. Well, when I was a freshman, I had a friend who worked as a research assistant at Chapman, and it was my first exposure to research and wanting to know more about it and if it's something that I will be interested in the future. So, but I didn't really know how to begin and what steps to take me there, or even if I was qualified. And it's just been in the back of my mind for a while. But like nearing the end of my freshman year, I came across an email about a new program in Chapman that's meant to facilitate the process of pursuing research or finding a mentor, getting funding, and it was called IRAD. And that stood for the Inclusive Research and Development Program. It was an award that was meant to help diverse students get into research with no experience required. And I don't know if it's still active now, but being selected for that award was the way I got in. And by simply completing that one application, I was able to select a mentor and find a research focus I was interested in and receive the funding for my salary and my research materials and pretty much get my foot in the door for research. So yeah, there's some things that just opportunities that I find that made it so easy to get into where I am now.
I can go next. So I got my internship by going to a conference. I actually went with Chapman's SWE Club, which is part of a larger organization, the Society of Women Engineers. And so we went to Chicago for the We24 conference. And a large part of that conference was actually a 2-day career fair. So it was nice being able to like talk to recruiters and get feedback that way and actually like even if I didn't get an internship or a job offer somewhere else, I was able to create like really strong connections with industry leaders that I can maybe go back to next year. So yeah, I talked to the people at Rockwell Automation and I actually got my job offer on the spot. I think just being myself and being passionate about what I do And also kind of talking about my future goals really helped me out, because they can see that I really wanted this opportunity and that, you know, I would succeed in it and do well just because it's something that I really want. So that's how I got started.
Yep.
Yeah, so I got started with my internship process right when I got into Chapman, just because a lot of people, especially in the tech industry, they prioritize internships and getting that experience before you go onto your entry level roles. So like my first like internship type thing that I did on campus was with Sam held a resume workshop that I attended, because I knew I had to work on that. I had my really bad one from high school. And that kind of like started the process. And from then I would just apply to as many internships as I could. Like last year I applied to I think like 200, but unfortunately I didn't get any. But then this year I did the same process. I actually joined a group called Color Stack, which is for people in tech that are people of color in tech, specifically Black and Hispanic people. And they post internship opportunities that are specific to their organization. They have collaborations with a lot of different companies, like I think Duolingo is one of their main ones. And so they held a career fair where they had a bunch of different companies come through, and we were able to talk to the recruiters. And that is where I talked to a recruiter from Workiva, and I ended up starting the process with them. And basically, I think I did one interview with them talking about my experience outside of in my classes, and went over some technical questions, and that's how I landed the offer that way.
Great. Thank you everyone for sharing. Next question. What is one thing you wish someone shared with you about your career and professional development before college that you didn't know? And it's okay if not everybody can answer it. It's fine, just whoever can think of something. But what's one thing that you wish you knew before you started school?
I can go.
Okay.
So if there's one thing I wish someone shared with me earlier is to look for opportunities that motivate me to learn and develop skills that would support me in my career, whether that motivation is research or a personal project or an internship, just something in additional to classes that would motivate me to develop skills. And before I felt overwhelmed by how much I didn't know and all the skills I needed to support me in my career, because there was just so much. But I've learned that it's much easier to be motivated to learn these skills when you apply them to a bigger picture or a project that you're doing. And personally, for me, research has reinforced my motive to learn new things. And it's not just in my classes, but also be able to teach myself many things outside of class in order to directly apply what I learned in the work that I'm doing. So not only was I able to learn a lot in my work, but it's also rewarding to see that I can apply what I learned into something that would support my community at a bigger scale.
I can go next. I think the main thing is that if you really want something, you have to put yourself out there and go get it. I think the main difference from last year when I was applying to internships and this year was the fact that this year I was really trying to connect with a lot more people, a lot of people in the industry, just trying to get what they do. Like it's not like a referral or anything, but mainly what they do in their industry and insight into their day in the life. Is this something that I really want to do? And these connections allowed me to really learn about what internships I actually wanted to apply to, what I actually want to do in the industry, and that kind of um, also helped me discover new things to do on campus as well, to potentially help me further in my career as well.
To add on to that, I agree with what Hallie said. And I guess just like expressing what you want and not backing down from that. Like for example, like I'm involved in extracurricular activities at Chapman as well. Like I'm the treasurer for Girls Who Code. And the way I got that position, I literally went up to the president and I told her, like, hey, this is something I'm interested in doing. And I feel like a lot of people don't tell you that. Like you have to go out, you have to voice your opinion and say, I want this opportunity, because it's not going to come to you. A lot of times you have to work for that. and expressing that and putting it out there that this is something you want lets other people know, like, hey, she's interested in this, or like they'll consider you for that role. So that's my take on that.
All right. Let's go ahead and move to the next one. So what has been the most helpful resources and tools in preparing for your processes?
I could take this one. A big resource for me has been LinkedIn. Not only has it been helpful to keep in touch with all the people that I've met in industry, but it also has provided a lot of internship opportunities as well. They have their own feed for jobs, and you can sort through it however you want to actually get the type of job positions that you're looking for. And so it's just a really good way to keep everything organized as well. And then obviously earlier I mentioned color stack as well. That's been a big player in my career.
So for me, I'm actually a sophomore, so I'm still kind of learning as I'm going through college. But I think the biggest tool for me has been just talking to upperclassmen. And that can be like through extracurricular activities as well, because it kind of helps you like meet new people from different backgrounds as well. And just seeing like not every person has the same journey, especially in like fields like computer science. Like you can go and do so many different things within computer science. So just like talking to people, like this is a great example of that. Like hearing other people's experiences and what they've done has really helped me, and also just figuring out like what I want to do in the future as well.
Yeah, adding on to that, just like being a presence at school is huge. Just like joining clubs, getting to know your upperclassmen, attending like a hackathon, which is like it's separate conference. Being involved at school is like probably the best thing that you're gonna do. Um, even if you're like, even if you just take the step to not do your work at home and just try being present at school, you meet so many people, and those people are your connections to like the world, because in 5-10 years they're going to be in industry, and they're going to be your connections for like the future. It's like this is like the best place to meet people.
All right. So thank you for our students. I think one thing that is like a through line for all of this is really leveraging the opportunities that you have in front of you when you're here. One thing I can attest to for all of our students here that I know, and others who were not able to make it, we had actually a full list of students who wanted to help and share their experiences, but we said we can only take a few at a time because we only can have so much time. But really, it's about how do you like take advantage of like what's presented to you, right? And how do you go out there and look for these things, and then asking for the help when you actually need them, right? Because they are there. It's just a matter of like, how do you leverage that opportunity and jump on it? So now I want to get into a time of Q&A. So if anybody in our chat or anybody who's on this virtual session wants to unmute and just ask any questions, now is the time to do so, and we'll do our best to get you that answer.
We'll give you a few minutes to type in, and then I can start reading off the chat once they start coming in.
One thing I did want to mention actually is a few of our students, I know somebody asked about EE, but we have an alumni who said they'd be happy to talk with anybody, but they are currently working at General Atomics, and they are contracted to the government, and they are doing electrical engineering work there. So we have that contact available. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to let me know and we can go ahead and connect you if needed. Any questions from anybody? I know typically in these things, everyone's a little shy, but we're not going to force you.
I'm also going to drop in just in case maybe you'd like to attend an additional session. We have 2 more upcoming general information sessions and then 1 more on just specifically computer science. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those in, and how you signed up for this session is how you would sign up for those. So I'll put that in the chat, as well as an email just in case you feel okay tonight at midnight, you're oh, I should have asked this question and you forgot. You could just email us and we'll get back to you right away. Okay, we have our first question. Can you say more about the 4+1 program and why you chose to do it? We have 2 people, right?
Yeah, so for the 4+1 program, I actually also found out about this program through my friend. But when I did more research into it, I thought this was a great opportunity to not only further my academia, because I do enjoy going to school and learning about these different topics, but also the classes offered really intrigued me. Specifically, I'm interested in machine learning topics, and there were a few machine learning classes that I was interested in. And also the 4+1 program itself was very interesting because you do get to take classes during your senior year, and thus you do get to finish the program faster. And so those are all reasons why I decided to do the program.
Yeah. They also offer like 3 different paths you could take. So let's say you are a computer science student in your undergrad, you have the choice to take data science classes, computer science classes, or electrical engineering classes, which is like perfect if you're not really set on what you want to do yet or you want to expand your field. Like Dylan said, it also is very nice to integrate a bunch of master's classes into your undergrad, especially because they are like significantly more in depth and more helpful than, I wouldn't say like compared to your undergrad, but they are very useful and like very industry specific.
I do have another question from Stephanie. If a student is getting financial aid as an undergraduate, does that carry over for the full time they're on the 4+1 program? I believe that your first year of the 4+1 program, so there's 2 years, that is still considered your undergraduate degree, or not degree, but you're still an undergraduate student. So those credits that you take in addition to your undergraduate credits, those are covered by your financial aid. I am not 100% on when you go into your 5th year, if that is covered, but I can get that answer for you. Give me a couple minutes. Well, Sam, can you take over the chat, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
Hillary.
The undergraduate program, I know for the last year it is covered, and I
Yes.
think honestly with the realities of higher education and the cost of things, like that is a tremendous burden that is lifted off if you're contributing financial aid. As someone who's spent a lot of time in school and money on school, I would tell you, as a graduate student, you can also still apply for financial aid, right? And so there are still options around that where you don't have to take out the highest interest bearing or the private loans, et cetera. So there are still graduate level FAFSA applications that you could complete every single year. But to answer your question directly, yes, the last year does cover. Jared asked, do you feel like Chapman's engineering program is comparable to other programs offered at schools that are kind of more well-known for engineering, such as Cal Poly Pomona? When you're looking for jobs, internships, is a school you go to that important? Okay, so as a Cal Poly Pomona alumni, that's me. I feel comfortable talking about my school. There are really great programs out there for engineering. Obviously, we are a newer school, but the one thing that I know, especially as an educator and having been working in the field and running different programs, is that ultimately I ask people to think about it this way. You cannot be a university and deliver outcomes for an undergraduate education without meeting specific criteria that all universities and programs are held to, right? So at that point, the way I explain it is that the programs that you take are all going to meet a specific degree of rigor, and it has to meet that in order to even give out a bachelor's degree in engineering. Now, the difference is, I would probably say with schools is what type of school you're looking for, right? So for me, as a student who went to Cal Poly Pomona, and I've worked at other CSUs before, the population is much bigger. The classroom sizes are going to be much larger. There are opportunities there that you can find because of the duration and the length of how long the program has been around. But then also you can take into consideration where like Chapman, you have smaller class sizes. I can tell you for a fact that one of the things that I think is highly valuable here is the completion rate and the graduation rate of being done in 4 years is a really big factor. And as someone who works in higher education, I can tell you that students have a pretty difficult time finishing within that 4 years in, let's say, a larger CSU program. That's what I would say to that. So I think it's just a matter of figuring out which of the perks, which of the environment that you like better, honestly.
Could I chime into that?
Yep.
I think a really big thing about the engineering program here, like Sam said, the small class sizes, that really allows us to really connect with the professors that we have. And a lot of the professors here have been in industry. They have a lot of good advice on how to approach the different aspects that we can encounter in the future. And it's just a great, again, another way to connect. But the small class size is a really big part, I think, what kind of makes it differ from Cal Poly Pomona. You're able to reach and meet a lot more people than you would at those schools. And then for the second question, I think obviously certain companies might prefer from certain schools, but for the majority of jobs, the real thing that matters is putting yourself out there and showing who you are as a candidate and what you can offer. And I think the engineering program here really prepares us for those types of situations and what we can bring to the table.
I wanted to add on to that. So for like the internship and like job hunting perspective, like so the conference I went to, We24, it had like the largest technical job fair for women in STEM in the US. And it was like there were people coming internationally for this conference. There were people from, you know, UCs, Ivies, other larger schools. And I was still able to get a job offer. I think it really like depends on the individual and what you've done and what you can bring to the table. Like when I was talking to recruiters, a lot of them actually skipped over the school. They just wanted to see me as a person, my accomplishments. And then like when I was getting my job offer, they were like, "Oh yeah, what school do you go to, by the way?" So it's like I think, you know, even though you're competing with all these people, it really depends on you as a person. Can you, you know, what can you bring to the table?
One
Great question.
other, sorry, Sam, I was just gonna say one other perk is because of the smaller class sizes, because of the smaller amount of students that we have here at Chapman, no classes are impacted, as well as all of the resources that you have at Chapman. We have central offices for them, but then what the engineering school has done a great job of since day one is implementing those central resources, one dedicated person within the School of Engineering just for engineering students, which not every school and college has at Chapman. So that's a huge perk for the engineering students. I know a lot of the bio students, a lot of health science students, they like to come over into Swenson Hall to kind of take advantage of all those. And of course, we don't turn anybody away, but you have this kind of personalized education and personalized resources for all of the engineering students. I think it's pretty cool. see. Okay. And then I did get the answer about the 5th year, and it is not covered because it's an undergraduate scholarship. Hopefully this helps. But like Sam said, it would be cut in half, right? Kind of
Yeah.
the cost.
Yeah, and you can still apply for financial aid at a graduate level.
Yes, that is
Which
correct.
I highly recommend anyway for anybody.
Mhm.
Are there any questions? It doesn't have to be specifically job related, but just any questions about, Chapman in general. We can probably help answer that as well.
Dorms, commuting, cafeteria, any of those questions?
And I will say to the Cal Poly Pomona thing, as an alumni again, it's a very, very large commuter school. So in my experience, one thing that I found really unique when I came to Chapman is that the students are really, really involved with each other, and it just makes the collaboration just more effortless. So there, again, it's just the environment and what your priorities are.
We're here if you need us. We are scheduled until 5 o'clock. If you'd like to come off mute, or if you want to throw something in the chat, we'll be here to answer any of your questions. But thank you everybody for attending and listening. We're happy that you joined us today. So anything else, we're here. We'll stick around for you guys.
Any parents? I know you're probably nervous for your children, but any questions just about the process and navigating through this whole thing that you want to get any perspective on, please feel free. We're always happy to do that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining.